Welcome. This will serve as the visual guide for Mycologenes cereal dilution kit. If you clicked on this video, that means one of two things, or both, that you're interested in cereal dilution, you are interested in trying out our kit, or you have already went ahead and purchased one. And I'd like to say, for one, thank you for your interest. And for two, most importantly, if you did buy a kit, thank you for supporting. It means a lot. Okay, so first of all, what you want to do is get your materials out. And some helpful things that are very useful to have but not included are 70% isopropyl alcohol, a pair of scissors, something to wrap the Petries with. I like paraffin. You can use plastic wrap or a Ziploc bag. Doesn't really matter. And something to write with. I use a Sharpie. So to start, you're going to want to get all your materials out. And you're going to want to find a place to do this at. I'm in front of a laminar flow hood, this thing. Alternatively, you can use the still air box. Put your gloves on so you can wipe everything down with isopropyl alcohol to sanitize it. I went ahead and I wiped down the face of the filter, and I wiped down the racks here, and I wiped down my sterile water tube. Okay, so once you have your gloves on and you've wiped everything down, you're going to want to get your tubes out. I went ahead and assembled them how I like to use them. The kit only comes with one tube, or one rack, tube rack, so you can space them like every other tube. I have two out just for convenience, and so I have them double spaced. So first thing you're going to want to get out is your transfer pipette. You're going to want to use the first one for this first step, for these first steps, and you're going to also want to get your transfer or your spreaders for later. The tubes will come like this in a sterile pouch. They've been pre-sterilized so that when you get them out and use them, they're already sterile. You don't need to wipe these down or sanitize them, because that would just contaminate them. So you're going to want to remove the lid from your sterile water. The sterile water will come wrapped in parafilm, so it might be a little difficult to remove, but it comes off with enough work. Use sterile scissors and open up the thing. You don't really want to do it like how I did, because the piece flew towards the tube, but this is just for demonstration purposes. Once you have your tube out, you're going to want to get your spores ready. Alright, so once you have your spores ready, or whatever substance you would like to dilute, you want to put it into the first tube. So, just like this. Now, I'm using a spore swab for convenience, but if you want to use a print, you can take a sterile blade or a sterile swab and rub it around on the print, and then apply or scrape the print into the tube. I like to get the swab a little wet before getting the spores, because then it helps it get it up. Helps them kind of get into the, free them from the print. Okay, now once you have them in there, you're going to want to mark this tube. You can do this before or whatever, just the first tube, you're going to want to mark it with S. Now, the transfer pipette is graduated, and it has lines, so you can see this is the 0.5 milliliter, and up here is 2 milliliter. What we want to do is you got to push down on it, and then as it expands, it will aspirate to suck up the solution. You want to get it up to the first line, put it in each tube consecutively. It doesn't have to be exactly perfect, but you want it to be basically exact because you're using the volumes to dilute. See, I kind of give my hand support here by resting it under my wrist here. Now the kit calls for 6 tubes, and it comes with 7, just in case you drop one or mess something up, if you need an extra one, or if you just want to dilute it further. Okay. Now last step is to put the solution into the spores here. You want to really mix that up. Mix it up really good. You can kind of scrape the transfer pipette against the surface to kind of maybe free some of the spores that are sticking, and then continue to pipette up and down to mix. Once you've thoroughly mixed, you're going to want to take half of this. Here, I'll bring it down a little bit, sorry. You're going to want to bring half of this solution into the next tube. So about like that. Into the next tube, or the first tube, you would say. Once you've done that, repeat the same step by mixing. Let's put it out half there. And repeat this for each tube. Now once you've done every single tube, you will be ready for plating. You can discard this pipette now. So you're going to need a spreader. You're going to need the last pipette. Go ahead and get the pipette out. Now you want to start with the most diluted, because this will give you the most desirable and the most diluted results. This method right here is to the power of 2, and typical dilutions are to the power of 10. So you would say the first dilution is 1x, the second is 10x. For this case, this would be 0.2, 2x, 4x, etc. So it goes by the powers of 2. So it's not as heavily diluted, but it's not that important if you use a small amount of starting material. So if you'll notice, you can't even see any spores in here, but they are there, believe me. If you take a microscope and look, they will be there. So anyway, you want to mix up again to make sure the spores are evenly mixed, and then take a little drop. Now, something to keep in mind is it's entirely optional how you choose to plate your dilutions. So let's say the most diluted tube here, there is more than enough solution to plate onto every single plate you have. You could do 5 to 10 for each tube probably. So you want to be intentional about it. If you're pretty confident in your results, then you can choose a specific dilution. But if you just want to see the results, I would recommend one or two plate for every single step. So, what I typically have is a 10x plate, 100x plate, 1000x plate, and then whichever one kind of works the best for what I'm trying to use it for is what I'll go with. Okay, so I've applied the drop onto the surface of the agar. I want to give some room here. You want to take your spreader and spread the solution all around the surface of the agar. Really evenly mix that drop around. Really evenly disperse all of the spores or the substance across the surface. And these are single use because you don't want to cross-contaminate. Now, I mean, most of the reason for dilution is to lower contamination. So you do not want to cross-contaminate. What you want to do, I mean, you can use the same pipette or not. The kit only comes with two, so this guide, this is for just one, for the one pipette, but you will repeat the process for each petri. Get a new spreader and spread it around, just like so. Once you have all of your petries inoculated with your zero dilutions, you are ready to wrap them and label them with their corresponding dilution. So you know which ones are which tubes. After you've done that, you just wait a few days for the growth to happen, and then you'll know your results. It's pretty simple. And that's all there is to it. Hope this is helpful, and thank you for watching.